I think we are recording, right?
Yeah, recording is started. Yeah.
Okay. So this is basically my model. And it sparked about because I was trying to make sense of a lot of things. At that point in time, I was studying David Hawkins. I was studying like people like Jiddu and Vivekananda, and also there's just a lot of frameworks that was being going around, and I was wondering if, let's say, there is a way for us to see all of these framework as one, because there must be a place. Because if I look at this framework, it makes sense, and then another person say that framework makes sense, and I look at that framework, that framework makes sense too. All the frameworks make sense, but at the same time, they are kind of conflicting each other a little bit. So I was trying to put it together, and from there, I slowly created, like, piece by piece, bit by bit, and this was the entire model. And my model is not a 2-dimensional model; it is a 3-dimensional model. So when you see from the top, then you have this model. This is from the top view. It looks like a funnel. When you see from the, why am I showing this one? Give me a second. I'm showing the wrong one. There you go. This one.
Yeah.
Let me just copy and paste that for a while. This is seen from the side. And this is the top, this is the side, and this is the depth of it. So from the top here, from the side here, and if you look from the top inwards, it goes like this. So the idea of all of these, it came about only because I was studying spiral dynamics. Have you ever heard of spiral dynamics?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So spiral dynamics have a couple of things. Where is the spiral dynamics? Yeah, there you go. So if you notice, the spiral dynamics is quite similar to David Hawkins' level of consciousness. This is directly from David Hawkins' level of consciousness. It's on the right hand side is levels of consciousness as a map of consciousness. On the left hand side is the spiral dynamics. But this version of spiral dynamics that I was using was based on Ken Wilber's integral theory spiral dynamics. So he talked about how when he was studying all of the frameworks, right? It seems that no matter what, the evolution of consciousness happens from a pre-rational stage to rational to post-rational. So when somebody is pre-rational, then it's the area of red, purple, and beige. They are constantly they don't make sense of anything at all, and they are just throwing things out. Their actions are based on beliefs and superstitions. They are in the red zone, wrong action, inaction, reaction, and that's why things never really succeed. Like all of the things are not based on, actions are not based on truth, but based on superstition. And when somebody is finally ready to let go of that, they enter the realm of rationality. So they start to piece things together in a scientific and logical way. But the problem with that is that as they grow along and they develop their intellect, they get into this point where they are somewhat overly complicating everything. They are so full of frameworks. They are so full of scriptures and logic and science and all that stuff, to the point where their life becomes very rigid. And so what happens then is that they try to let go of that, even while they're holding on to that. And that was the point where they slowly entered the zone of from green to yellow. So they slowly let go of logic, and the more of this logic that they let go, the more they flow. So they enter into the realm of courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, and then it comes to a point where they go into love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. So that will be post-rational. They are pure intuition, and they are able to see. That is when people say your third eye is open. So this is the from the top view, you can see the the colors. All right. So I have basically extrapolated that across the areas of life. So Ken Wilber's 𝗪𝗘𝗧 model is referencing AQAL is all quadrants, all lines, all types, all states. So it's everything. So I reference that across the areas of life. The difference with me and 𝗪𝗘𝗧 model is that 𝗪𝗘 model likes to talk about has this thing. How do I open this up again? Element, line. The way 𝗪𝗘 works is I, it's, we. Oh no, it's I, we. And then you got it, it's. So it's kind of like I is all of the science and all of the frameworks and all of the theories about the self. We stands for sociology, stands for the humanity as a whole, all the humans. It refers to a singular subject, like biology is considered an it. Physics is considered an it, whereas it's is an interconnection of everything. So what I did was like I'm not sure if I remember this correctly. It was a long book, but it's basically around this same premise. So what I did was I divided it into 3 sides and said the person, the people, and the position, because I think that this languaging is a little bit confusing to understand. So I put it as person, people, and position. Everything which is at the top is the controllable facets of things. Everything which is at the bottom is the uncontrollable facets of things. In the same way where you can only control your behavior you can't really control an outcome. You can influence an outcome by controlling your behavior, but you can't really directly control it. So therefore, everything at the bottom is the uncontrollable. So this is based on the Wheel of Life model. It's a combination of Wheel of Life model and 𝗪𝗘 together. So you have 3 areas. The personhood is body, mind, and intellect. This is directly based off of the Vedic. So because over there the person is divided into the mind, the body, and intellect. There is no what we currently call like conscious, subconscious, and all of those things. There is no languaging like that. And if you look at the word of what is the guy's name? I can't remember his name, but he was Vivekananda's mentor. You know, yeah. Ramakrishna, yes. He was the one who popularized the question, who am I? Yeah. And if you ask yourself a question like, who am I? Like, you are not your body, you are not your mind, you're not your intellect. Then therefore, the I over here has no place in this quadrant. So therefore, inside my framework, there is no I, there is no only person. Who are you? You are everything here. You are everything here. You are everything, but you are not a singular part over here. So person, positions refers to all of the materialistic things that we get in life. Time, space. Space means environment. Things means all the materialistic things like your cars, your house, your money, all of the stuff. Family refers to a family, including romantic relationships, the close relationships. Community simply means the awareness, your consciousness towards the people who are around you, your sense of community, and the world. So the reason why I put it like this is also because somebody can have a high level of consciousness when it comes to their body, but they may not necessarily have a high level of consciousness when it comes to their time. Likewise, may not have a lot. Like I came from the fitness industry. There was a lot of people who have when you have conversations with them about fitness, you realize that they are pretty enlightened about fitness, but They have not very enlightened about money, as an example. They are poor personal trainers, but they have already gone through this whole thing. They have gone through the fear and the grief. They have battled their frustrations and the desire for a nice body. And then they have developed their pride. And they have come to this point where they realize that their pride means nothing. And they have learned to humble up. They have gone through this whole scientific growth study phase, and then they are tired of it, and they have come to this point where they just love their body. They're not training because they hate their body. They're training because they love their body. See? So they are quite established in terms of consciousness of the body, but not necessarily in the things. So likewise, across all areas of our life, we have a mixture of things which we are quite developed, and then the areas which are not so developed. And it all comes back down to this one. Because imagine when you look at it from the top-down view, it's like a funnel, okay? There's a depth to this. When you look at this, this is the depth of it, right? So the outcome is right at the top, okay? But what influences the outcome is the behavior. And before the behavior is a state, and identity, and worldview, and consciousness. So this is what we are going to discuss today. So I've just given you the overview of the thing. What we're going to discuss is basically this one right now. So,
okay. I had a question regarding this.
Yeah.
So this is like these 3 slides are like pretty much holistic to understand everything, I think.
Yeah.
So what sparks my interest now is, since you are saying that just go to the page 2, second page.
Okay.
Just scroll down to second page. So
right.
this thing is something new to me. So this thing covers family, body, mind, intellect, time, space, and this is basically a funnel where. So what you're trying to say is a person can have and can operate at a different level of consciousness for each of the categories.
Yeah.
Okay. So if a person, suppose, is at 190.
Yeah.
So is it a wrong notion to say that a person is 190? Should we like go in deep and explore all these categories and then decide where all these categories are?
It's very clear you are in this zone here, yellow. Okay, so the hallmark of a yellow, someone who is in yellow, is that they are very logical. They are looking at frameworks. They are, like what Sadhguru always say, the intellect is meant to cut.
Yeah.
Your intellect.
The brain operates by cutting, and the intuition and the overall things like they work as a holistic. Otherwise, the brain works as in a divide.
Yeah.
Right. Divided. Yeah.
Right now, I can see your intellect is very sharp. It has been sharpened. So right now, you're trying to divide and divide and divide. But I want to remind you about something. When David Hawkins wrote the book, and when he was presenting this for the first time, David Hawkins said that this whole thing was a farce. All of this framework, the best it can do is to create an approximation of the consciousness. It is a representation of consciousness in a linear way, but it cannot be ever a full representation of consciousness. So the understanding of this is simply to serve as I would say, a scaffolding for people to just kind of like intellectually understand things.
Just to get a brief, like an overview, like overall understanding of where they are. It's like, But you have to go in depth and understand things then.
Not necessarily, because you look at it this way. Whatever it is, whatever idea that we learn, whatever things that we have encountered in life, we can dissect it as much as possible, but there can be no end to dissection. You can also chunk it up and generalize it as much as you want. There can be no end to generalization. Like somebody who is deeply locked in a spiritual trance or a meditative trance, in the state of a yogi, in the words that they use, it's like, where do I begin? And where do the rooms start? Where do I end? Where do the rooms start? If you are truly one with everything, you can't separate between your body and the chair that you're sitting on. You see? So it's like chunking up and everything is coming back into one. We have to realize that everything in life, this whole separation thing, whether it is deep or it is far or it is near or is far or up and down, all of it is our decision. Is the judgment of the mind that made it so. Our meaning is not really the truth. It is just our own interpretation, our meaning. So therefore, when David Hawkins was creating all of this, do you remember what he was using? He was using the logarithmic scale. It is muscle testing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So nowadays, there's a lot of Westerners who likes to talk about, vibrational frequency and everything and all the stuff. But David Hawkins did not use those languages. Like, he used vibrational frequency as language, but he didn't state it in the same way that many modern Western spiritual practitioners say it. He was actually going about it in a very practical and logical way. Actually, he would be like, raise up your hand, and then he would say a yes/no question, and then he would test the muscle whether it is strong or weak. And if it is, so he would say, okay, this one and this one and this one is in the realm of is shame. Test, yes or no. If it is yes, means 1 point. No means 0 point. So he would say, okay, courage is is 200. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, courage is 200. Right? And then he will go into neutrality. Neutrality is I can't remember what was the number for neutrality. Neutrality is this number. Is that true? False. False. Increase number by 1. False. Increase my number by 1. False. Increase number by 1. True. Okay, cool. That is a number. and he spent like years just doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
He spent a lot of time just doing this.
Yeah. So to answer your question, sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah. So he basically focused more on mapping the emotions and making it logical so that everybody can understand, because most people are logical, right?
Yeah. And in fact, like, we have to go through the logical phase before we can go into the post-rational.
Yes, correct.
So to answer your question, should we this one, is it true or not? Actually, it doesn't really matter whether it's true or not, because whenever we tap into that feeling, right? If we are to perform a logarithmic test about a person, if I say I want to calibrate you or you want to calibrate me, you can feel if you are beyond, if you subscribe to David Hawkins, and if you are not an atheist, and if you are above courage and above, you will be able to accurately calibrate who I am in terms of where I am in terms of this of consciousness. And I would say, if I have to put a number to it, I think all of these things in combination forms a general number across here, like on average. Yeah.
Okay. This is sort of an average, but a person can, in different categories, operate at different levels of consciousness. He can have a strength at certain thing, like you mentioned about the physical fitness thing. A person can have a very good understanding about that thing, but not about money, right? So these things are different. So I think a person can work on all these things and become whole, or become, or increase the level of consciousness on all these fronts. Become good at money also, understand body also, understand families, sense of community, has a good sense of the world, has all kinds of materials. So a person can become holistic in all those things by working on all those things, right?
Yes.
By going inside. Yeah.
However, I do want to ensure that we are using the word consciousness deliberately, and not simply because it's there. Like, we are using the word consciousness deliberately, not understanding. So it is not understanding, but consciousness. And I will give my personal definition of consciousness very soon. So coming back to this one, right? Outcomes. You notice that there is a curvature. The outcomes, horizontally, the bar seems to be wider than behavior. There is a reason why I did that on purpose. It is because, notice that the fluctuation of an outcome can be big, but the action that you do doesn't have to be big. Okay, so if I want to be fit, as an example, there is only so many things that I do in order to be fit. If I don't do that many things, then the possibility of my body shape can vary very much. From I can be either extremely skinny or extremely obese. I can be very healthy or very unhealthy. It will be very fluctuating. Like there's no way to predict that. But if I create a set of behaviors, a set of actions that I consistently do over time, then the outcome is more predictable. If let's say a bodybuilder, you talk to a bodybuilder as an example with 5% body fat, okay? Like this guy, like eating, like some natural bodybuilders that I've spoken with, eating is a spiritual process.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you look at them and we are looking at them and we see them eat the kind of food that they eat. And it's like, oh my God, why are you torturing yourself that way? And in the same way, we look at monks and we look at their life and they're like, why the hell are you living this way? You know, but they don't understand. For somebody who is so religiously devout about fitness, this is spiritual. Like they call it the Iron Temple when you go to the gym, the Iron Temple.
Yeah.
You see?
It's a temple.
Yeah.
Some people even pray before starting their exercise.
So if you are living the perfect bodybuilding lifestyle, like fully calibrated nutrition and fully calibrated fitness,
Everything calculated, yeah.
If everything is calculated, your results is gonna be pretty predictable. You see?
Yes.
Right. So the fluctuation among all of that would be like 3% body fat fluctuation. You wouldn't be fluctuating like
not more than that. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Because it's a science. It's a science.
Correct. So you see, what I am trying to prove here is that a certain amount of behavior will create a certain amount of outcome. So instead of trying to control an outcome, you can just control the behavior. And this solves a very big problem. The problem of productivity. Because if you look at all of these things, like there is so many things I need to do with body. There's so many things I need to do with mind. There's so many things I need to do with intellect, the time, space, with the entire wheel of life. How the hell am I supposed to find time to do all of the routines over here?
Correct.
You can't. And so all of the proponents who are just all about, all you need to do is just control your behavior. It's just control your behavior. They don't understand the fragility of the human mind. When an untrained human mind. So when they insist, okay, let's keep you accountable. All right, we're gonna keep you accountable to do this and to do that. They're all about the doingness. And when they're all about the doingness, they won't be able to sustain the behavior that keep up with all of these things down here. So what we want to do is we want to get to the root of it. Is there something that I can do that will change everything for me? Is there some practice that I can do that will really change everything without me doing so much? That is the question. And this question is in line with the idea of being, doing, having. Right? So it comes down, as you will see, the more I explain over here, the more we go down into this thing here, the more inwards it become, the more it is about the being, not the doing. So before the behavior, however, I want to talk about the relationship between state and behavior. Your behavior is completely dependent on your mental states. It's very large. So when I talk about states, I want to bring back this chart again, because this whole chart here, the whole map of consciousness is not only a map of consciousness, it is also a map of emotions.
Yes, correct.
So the difference between a state and consciousness, from here on out, consciousness is interchangeable with stage. Just now you mentioned about crossing. Just now, before we did the recording, you talk about crossing certain point, crossing courage, crossing neutrality. When someone truly crosses, right, they permanently cross. If let's say I have crossed the realm of pride and I'm into courage right now, I can't unsee courage.
Yeah.
My life,
you have crossed it. Yeah.
My life would be completely changed. You see?
Completely changed. Yes.
So
your understanding of the world, your mindset, your understanding of time,
yes,
people, everything changes.
Yes, it is like I'm reborn.
Yes. Once that internal state changes, because on the right,
if
you see the shame, guilt, apathy, it's all about your internal state, right?
Yes.
So it directly maps that. So
Yeah.
once the internal thing is changing from inside, your everything outside changes. Like some people talk that this is a pity world to live in, dangerous world to live in, like
Yeah.
very vengeful,
Yeah.
hateful, all those things, right? And for some people, if you talk about, it's like they love humanity,
Yeah.
like beautiful, like so peaceful. So
Yeah.
when they are talking like that, it's not nothing outside, right? Outside is the same. It's all about inside what is happening with them.
Yeah. Yeah. You get it. You totally get it. But
Yeah.
and what you just described is a stage, but
Yes.
there is also the state. And when it comes to the state, it is only fluctuating. It is temporary. Like in the
Yes.
words of Muji, it is like clouds passing, So
Yes.
at some point, I may feel courageous. I may feel love. I may feel joy, right? I may feel acceptance, willingness, but will it last? I will tell you that there was so many times when I'm in a room and sometimes I'm in a room and some people will be bringing out this chart and talking about this. I encountered such situations before, and the facilitator asked the room, "Hey, where are you vibrating right now?" And like 90% of the people in the room would say they are above courage. They'll say, "Oh, I am in peace right now. I am in joy right now. I'm in love."
Yeah.
Right? But they don't
They,
understand.
they say,
Yeah, they would think the reason why they say they are like that is because once upon a time, when
they
their
felt
baby
like that.
was born, they felt love.
Yeah.
They
They
have
felt
never
love.
felt love after that, but they automatically think that they are already,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
This is what is called pseudo enlightenment. People
This is a
think,
great point.
yes, and
Great
that is
point.
huge danger, because many times I encounter people who, unfortunately, they think they are of a certain way, and because they believe they're a certain way, there was even one time somebody private messaged me on Facebook, and she said, "Okay, I am an enlightened being. I'm trying to get everyone enlightened."
Mm,
And so it's
right.
like this self-illusion actually takes them down. They are actually in pride. They may have done
Yeah.
work on themselves and they have seen results through the work, but they are in pride. So anyway, that is the idea of a state. If let's say I am angry right now, there is only a certain, I am quite, like, if you know somebody deeply, somebody closely, you kind of can predict what they will do when they're angry.
Yes.
You
Correct.
kind of know what they will do when they're
Yeah. When what will trigger them, right?
Yeah.
And after trigger, what kind of like a behavior they will portray. All right.
Yeah.
So this is all predictable once you start living with someone.
Correct. And that is why NLP, I'm a master prac in NLP, and NLP is a strong proponent of state management, including Tony Robbins as well. It's like state management. It's all about state management.
Yeah, he talks all the time about state story strategy. He talks all the time about that.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, that thing, and the state. Most people cannot understand what the state he's talking about. What is that state he's talking about? People always like run for the next strategy. What should I post? What kind of content should I create? All those things. What like in trading, what sort of candle should I follow? Right? They always talk about the strategy. And that's why 85 to 90, 95% of the people fail in what the other person is getting successful at.
Yeah.
They don't understand the person who's getting successful in that thing is operating at a different state. He has a different state of mind, and you are not at that. So even if you are following the same strategy, you won't get the same results.
Yeah. And state, strategy, action, all of that is in between these two.
Yeah, correct. State and behavior. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the whole thing is getting make more and more sense. Now, however, there is a problem here. Like, even though the benefit of state management is that if you consistently apply the tools to help you make your state good, in positive, productive,
correct, every day,
can be every day, then your behavior can be pretty predictable. But there is also a problem with that. The problem is that, like what Muji always say, emotions are like clouds passing. In the first place, can we be free of the bondage of feelings? right? And so
like the mood swings and all those things people have, right?
yeah,
Like
like,
sometimes they feel certain way, sometimes they feel other way, right? And it's not in someone's control. It
yeah,
is something which comes automatically.
yeah,
Sometimes you are like you feel certain kind of emotion, you are angry, you want to cry sometime, you want to laugh sometime. It's like something which is like passing through them, just like clouds you are saying. It's automatic.
mm. That's why this week's lesson, like 𝗬𝗧𝗏 talked about pendulums. Pendulums are in other words triggers. Yeah, it just
being in the center.
yeah. And over here you can literally see the pendulum swinging from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom.
Yeah.
And somebody who is, as an example, maybe they are in grief right now, the pendulum swing is gonna be like hovering about 2 or 3 up and down like that. You know, the three steps down, 3 steps up. You know, somebody who is in love will be 3 steps up, 3 steps down. So the states are unreliable. What if we can just change our identity? And that is when we exit the realm of NLP, because NLP actually talk about identity as well. But my NLP mentor who gave me my certification literally teach us, don't mess with identity, because it is just a lot of work, very, very hard work.
Yes, it's very hard. It's very hard to change a person's identity, right? Because people spend most of their life and even lifetimes in a similar identity.
Yeah, but at the same time, if my identity is that, David Hawkins says it best. He said that the person who is angry at something, they are not angry because of that something. They are angry because they are angry.
Yes, there is no something. They are just angry.
They're just angry, and it is.
I mean, sometimes people feel that the other person is angry because of me or XYZ, but it's not because of them. It's just that they are angry.
Yeah.
The reason could be XYZ.
Yeah. Like right now, I am currently having eczema. Thankfully, it's getting better over the past few days. I've changed some nutritional strategies. But man, like a few weeks ago, it is very hard to be able to maintain a cohesive conversation with somebody, because the itchiness makes me very irritable. It is very hard to show up as a kind person when it's like everything is hurting, you see? So likewise, like, and it applies to everything as well. Like if somebody is in desire, if somebody is the identity is desire, if let's say desire is producing a certain kind of, if desire is who they are, you can give them everything that they want, they will still want more.
Yes, that's why like people say now, even if you have $1 billion, you will still want next billion.
Yes.
It's never satisfactory for them.
Correct.
They want more, right? It's like a desire.
Yeah.
So
and that kind of brings into question the whole idea of reality creation, which is going to be a very interesting conversation as well. But we can talk about it next time. There is a place. It's like, then why are we reality creation? There is a reason. We are reality creation. At the same time, we are also letting go. These two ends of the spectrum, right? We must, one part of us must pursue that. Another part of us must strive to let go of that.
Yeah. Otherwise, like if you stick to that, like lower levels of this thing, you cannot move up the ladder. You have to let go. It's hard actually. It's to change identity is actually hard. So if a person is like to work on themselves and change some things, maybe with the help of a coach or XYZ, right?
Yeah.
So like it's very hard to change a person's identity. It takes a lot of time to work on them. They themselves have to be willing.
Yes.
So what do you suggest? Like persons should start with working on their behaviors?
That is where I come to the next one. You see, it's not the behavior. Everything at its top, what controls it is at the bottom. Right? So outcome is controlled by behavior. Your behavior is controlled by your states. Your state is controlled by your identity. Your identity is controlled by your worldview. And your worldview is controlled by your consciousness. Let me just quickly talk about this for a while. Whatever your personal answer to the question of who am I, what created that conclusion for you? let's have a discourse over here quickly. Like,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts?
I think it's how I view the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not just the world, but it's everything.
Yes. It's not about, yeah, it's everything. Everything
Yeah.
around, everything I view outside now.
Yeah.
And it has changed over the years, but how I view the world like defines, I think it's not fixed. It changes over time, right? If I understand it, it changes
Yes.
over time. But
Yes.
the now the kind of worldview I have, I think that has resulted in a different kind of identity. I don't know if the resulting change in identity caused my worldview or the change in worldview caused a different identity.
The
It
word
is, it is,
worldview is a bit misleading, but I have no other choice than to use the word because there are no other words to represent it. It is not the worldview. It is also not perspective. It is kind of
yeah,
my internal view of everything, the meanings I make out of everything. So what is this? What is this cup? What is this bottle? And
yeah.
because of the accumulation of memories that I experienced throughout my life, if I see something and I think this something means something, it has now turned into a memory. And
Yes.
I meet another thing and it now turn into memory. And the accumulation of memories creates a meaning about that reflects who I am. Or rather, it gives me, it tells me I use that to make a meaning about myself. If somebody is consistently facing failure all the time, and if this person's mind is untrained, they are not a trained mind, and they consistently see nothing but failure, then they may come into the conclusion that I am a failure. Who am I? I'm a failure. I once met a psychologist, or rather, like I once, one of my ex-client was a psychotherapist. All right, she can you imagine? She had 3 PhDs, three
Oh,
PhDs. Okay,
3 PhD means 15 years.
a lot. Like I do not know how many, but it's a lot of
It's
years.
like 4 to 5 years for a single PhD.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and she's spending all of the time just treating people, helping people, doing charity, and the reason why she engaged me was because her business wasn't doing well. And you know, it's kind of funny why I'm a marketing coach, but it is what it is. So I was having a conversation with her and coaching her one day, and I asked her, "Who are you?" And she says, deep down, like it was a moment of vulnerability. She's finally willing to acknowledge it. She said, "I am someone who is atoning for my sins." See? And the reason why she said that was because before she was a therapist, she had a corporate job where she sees herself as a ruthless shark. And she caused a lot of people a lot of grief. And she caused a lot of people to quit their job. And one day she's realized what she was doing. So she's like, I am a demon who is atoning. You know, so that is her worldview. That is her identity. That was identity, and the identity was shaped from her worldview about her past and all the past experiences. Now, the one thing that controls the worldview is the consciousness. And I will talk about the meaning of consciousness to me. If you try to Google consciousness, you will encounter 2 types of response. One response is a very verbose, very long-winded explanation of what consciousness is, with a lot of flowery languages, which I never quite understand. Another one would be the conclusion given by scientists. We do not know what consciousness is, and consciousness cannot be defined. So personally, I don't subscribe to any of that. To me, I think I just define it as this: the dynamic between awareness and acceptance. This is my personal definition of it. I didn't take this from anyone. It was just something that I think about, and I came to this current theory. I wouldn't call it a conclusion. It's just a current theory of what consciousness is. And why I said this is because if I'm sitting down with dinner with you, and we are with friends, okay? If I am aware that you are in my presence, But if I do not accept that you are in my presence, I will treat you a certain way.
Yeah.
Right? If I accept that you are in my presence, then I will also treat you a different way.
Correct.
So one, I would reject. Another, I would accept. If I accept, then not only are you gonna feel welcome, I will treat you a certain way. I'll be kind to you. I'll offer you food, offer you drinks, get whatever. Okay. So the dynamics between awareness and acceptance, a lot of times people who are suffering, they are suffering because their acceptance, their level of acceptance cannot keep up with their level of awareness. Correct. So they are made aware of things that is happening across the other side of the world, and they feel suffering because they cannot accept the reality of that. The more someone suffers, it tells me that the more they are unable to accept what they are seeing. So when it comes to the worldview and consciousness, worldview, what is that? That is the awareness. The consciousness, there is the next step internally that they must do in order to accept what they are seeing. When it comes to this whole thing, there are things that you need to do for your body. Can you accept? You know that you need to exercise. You know that you need to take care of your nutrition. Are you accepting that are you accepting the fact that you must do this? When it comes to your business, you want to try to grow your wealth. You are aware of what you need to do to grow your wealth. Are you willing to come into acceptance of those actions? See? So if you have made peace with the action, if you have made peace with your reality, with your current reality, then your consciousness is now coming up to the level of your reality. And from there, then only you can create something new. If I'm constantly rejecting, then I'm not facing the facts. There were so many times when I am in a seminar or a workshop, and somebody they would talk about their business model, and they would say, like this is my passion. I just know that I am meant to do this. And then you listen to their business model, it's completely ridiculous. And then you ask them, has the market told you that they want it? Because you don't want to assume, you don't want to come into conclusion, right? So you ask them, have you done your market research? Yeah, I've done my market research. Well, has your market shown you any indicators that they want what you're selling? No, but it means that I am not targeting the right market. And then we talk further, and then we realize that their family has been suffering because every money they got, they just invest in whatever in a venture. They're not putting food on the table. They're borrowing money left, right, and center to pay for things that they're not supposed to be paying for. They're going to seminars and spending thousands of dollars, even though they're in debt and even though their family needs the money. So they are locked in a current situation where their inner their desire has superseded all reason, and to the point where they are not being a responsible human being. So that can this person create? I think not. I think that this person needs to come into reality first, then only they can create.
Yes.
Yeah. So the method to elevate the consciousness, after I studied whatever I studied, I come to subscribe to David Hawkins' letting go technique.
Yeah.
It's
a powerful technique.
Yeah. So it is a very simple process. And it is the same process done in different forms and done in different variations to go from shame, guilt, apathy, grief, upwards to pride, to courage, to acceptance, to and so on and so forth. It is the idea that you face an emotion. The moment you come into awareness of an emotion, you just allow yourself to feel that emotion. And it is the same thing that he talked about in the book, Letting Go, Surrender, Pathway to Enlightenment. All of that is just power versus force. All of that. It's just one simple thing. And in that comes, I realize, is the key. The one thing that I truly think will change everything over here. And that key is letting go. Why? Simply because You just need to go about life. All you need to do is just go about life. And then as you go about life, you will encounter triggers.
Yeah.
And as you encounter triggers, you do the letting go exercise. Personally, I teach my clients the phrase letting through rather than letting go. Because when people talk about letting go, they tend to be escaping rather than letting go. It's like letting go, letting go. That is not letting go. You're not feeling it when you're doing this, it's like letting go, you gotta feel it.
Yeah. So any kind of like trapped emotions or childhood trauma or any kind of thing people have. I think this technique is really powerful to actually do it, but it's not a letting go, it's like letting through.
Yeah.
You have to go through it, right?
It's like you gotta
you cannot jump it.
Yes, you cannot skip it. And likewise, you can't go too deeply. As an example, if somebody is really very locked, like truly locked in their trauma, if you open the doors too wide too soon, they're gonna relive their entire trauma and they're gonna just go crazy. Because the whole idea of suppression, escapism, and projection, which is the three primary ways that people normally do, these are all survival mechanisms. These are not the permanent way to solve the problem.
Correct.
So selective usages of escapism, projection, like when I rant, if I'm complaining about something, I'm having catharsis, that is a projection. If I am taking a deep breath to calm myself down, it is actually a form of projection / suppression. But it is effective for now. But eventually, we need to face our shadows, which is the reason why. Notice here, it says shadow.
Correct.
This is from Carl Jung. Persona, shadow, anima. Anima is your other side of you. So the way to unravel your shadow is to lean on the other side, either the feminine or the masculine side. And then beneath the anima, you find yourself. So you go through life, you experience triggers, you encounter situations, and those situations happen for you so that you can use that as a benchmark to let go. And when you let go, now your quote unquote vibrational frequency has just elevated a little bit. And this is the reason why I personally believe that business is a
I agree. Like when a person is like switching from a job to starting a new business or as an entrepreneur journey, I think the first thing that happens is the personal development phase. And that phase, a lot of inner demons like are released, right? You have to go through all those things. You cannot let go, you have to go through all those things. And you go through all those things, which includes your anxiety, your mindset, and everything gets a different trajectory. And once you have overcome all those things, right, it's basically moving up the ladder. You do courage, right? So you move up the ladder, you move from courage to higher, and there are certain things which internally are changed. And once you are on a path of self-mastery and you've mastered yourself, I think then you are on a certain level of consciousness where things happen automatically.
What you said makes a lot of sense, and at the same time, it is a lot easier than it sounds. A lot harder than it sounds.
It's a lot harder. Yeah.
So like as an
example, most people start something for 6 months and then they go back. Yeah. Because it's hard, it's painful.
The necessities of business will force you to grow.
Yes.
Because if you don't grow, you
die.
You will flop. You can't survive.
Your business dies. Yes.
If a new entrepreneur can't get over his or her ego, they are not going to be able to serve the market what the market wants. The market ruthlessly judge them and their business will never take off, right?
Yes.
Under the things like over here, I just gave you a very simple thing. Like this is it's a massive simplification of life. But under things alone, right, there are things like, what about your consciousness when it comes to sales? What about your consciousness when it comes to marketing yourself, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable?
Correct.
What about consciousness with money? Do you have a good relationship with money? What about your relationship with time, your personal time, your space? So there's a lot of things. If we try to really dissect it, we can dissect it in infinite amount of times. So again,
many things you have to overcome.
Yes.
That's why it's hard. That's why it's hard. And that's why I think most of the first-time entrepreneurs fail, right?
Yes.
They fail their first business and then they go back to their job.
Yes.
It takes actually a lot of courage to go back from failures to failures and then stand up and then again try and then fail, then again try, right? And people who actually do that move up the ladder like quite fast.
Yes.
They undergo a lot of changes in their habits, mindset, inner game, everything. And then we see a sudden success, right?
Yes.
And people say, how did it happen?
Yeah.
It didn't happen overnight. It took so many years for that person to actually go through all those things. And then the results and the outcome which you have shown in this slide, outcome happens, right? And the outcome, people see the outcome, right? People don't see what has been the journey through.
Yeah. So in other words, in your journey to achieve a certain outcome, all of these things is the path. All of these things is meant to happen. 𝗪𝗟𝗓𝗧𝗦 once did a video. He did a video short. He talked about how if you truly concentrate your effort into 20 hours of doing anything, you will achieve mastery over it. You become quite decent. You achieve a certain level of mastery. The problem is most people take years before they finish even the first hour.
Correct.
And you know the reason why.
So the thing is, it's about starting, right? It's about the initial 20 hours of anything.
Yeah.
Whether it be writings, learning skills, sales, making video, anything.
Yeah. But it's not just starting. It is rising up from the beating. So it's like here's what I noticed among new entrepreneurs. They take forever to decide to pursue something, and then the moment they decide to pursue it, they second guess themselves for months, and then after that they go and study and learn through webinars and workshops for another half a year, and then after that they take another half a year to prepare for their launch, right? And then another 3 months to summon up the courage to launch, and then they launch. Guess what? They fail because you have to fail.
And then they say that it's all in my luck.
And then they take another 6 months to grieve their loss, and then another 6 months to prepare again. So it's like that's like within 10 years they only try like 2 times. Whereas somebody who is seasoned, like for me, actually Russell Brunson wrote about this. He talked about how many people look at him and they think that Russell Brunson is like this amazing superstar marketer. Truth of the matter is, out of every one successful launch he does, there's 20 failed launch.
The only thing that differentiates him from other people is that he launches very fast. And he launches too many times.
Yes. All the people.
By the time people think in 7 days, he has launched 7 times. So that's the difference.
All the successful people I know of, it's like if they face a setback, the next day they come back already. But people who are currently at below courage, like you need courage to make this happen. If you are below courage, you face a setback, you're gonna spiral down.
And then it's very hard to come back. And then I think you need support and you need mentors and all those things to lift you up.
Mental support, like talking group and all of those things. You need so many things.
Communities and all those things.
Yes. Like one of my friends used to work with Vishen Lakhiani. And
Mindvalley.
And he talked about how on the outside Mindvalley looked very good, but internally, in the formative years, Mindvalley faced collapse many times. Many times. And you know what he told me? He said that like one thing that Vishen Lakhiani did very, very well is that whenever there is something that failed, he's like, okay, let's go, let's move ahead, let's move on. The attitude is like, it's so default in the culture of Mindvalley that the attitude of him becomes like this. Okay, our business not doing well, great. How can we take our business to the next level? Business doing well, great. How can we take our business to the next level? It's always just, how can we take our business to the next level? There is no other question.
So it's all about the next step. It's all about the next step, the next step.
Yeah. So this is what I believe needs to happen. And you go through this, we go through this every day and face it. And that's why I'm grateful for my eczema. Because it's like many times people look at this and they have a negative sentiment about triggers. They want to avoid trigger, they want to avoid this, they want to avoid that.
And then they attract more of those.
Yes. So it is the whole idea of attachment.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
and it's for the people who are like operating at a different level of consciousness. It's the attachment that is causing the problem for them.
It's like what Buddha said, is the desire and aversion.
Attachment is the root of all misery, right?
Yeah. So even when you are trying to avoid triggers, you are attached to triggers. So
yes.
So Swami Vivekananda said, a seed goes into the ground. It absorbs water, it absorbs air, it absorbs the soil. It doesn't become water, air, or soil. All of these elements in life, aka triggers, aka pendulums, they are not here to work against you. And if we can simply see triggers as the blessing that they are, then suddenly, if you can simply accept that, suddenly all of these things at the bottom here will be irrelevant.
Yes.
You know, and then life can be exciting. Life can be like a game. If you understand that you are not your body and you are not your mind.
Yeah.
It is not really hurting you.
I think after a certain level, the earning money, social status, all those things become like a game, right?
Yeah.
You play the game of life. You play the game of business for the sake of playing, not for money.
Yeah.
And once you start enjoying that game, you play more of it. And that's why people who are like reaching a certain level of revenue, they grow, keep growing. It's not money per se for them, right? After a certain period of time. It's about playing that game every day. They enjoy doing it. They enjoy serving people. They enjoy solving problems. They enjoy waking up. They enjoy branding, right? It's like they are operating at a different level. It's just that they are enjoying it. Otherwise, for a normal person who sees them, they will wonder why is he that, like if you see Grant Cardone and all those people, they are branding day in and day out at the age of 65. Like people sometimes question him, why are you like branding so much? Why are you running after so much? It's like he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
People don't understand it. Even if you've been enjoying it, money is like a secondary or a byproduct for them.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
I think this definition is pretty good. This is something new to me. I really enjoyed reading this. Very simple, very crisp and short, not very long sentence, not those things. And you also gave like sort of a solution here, which is like if you have certain kinds of triggers and obstacles, what a person can do. What a person can do is go through a certain kind of letting go techniques to go through them, overcome them, and then kind of see certain kinds of change in his identity, behaviors, and certainly the outcome then.
I created this framework for my clients from a lot of conversations with them. Letting go is these 3 steps is very, very simple. If for people who are more logical oriented, then like they need like something that they do, so something more predictable. So just discussing triggers, like now you're aware of the trigger. Now make yourself accept it, allow it to happen, and then acknowledge it, having the ability to voice it out, to be able to just say, okay, this is my problem. And then after that, start the process of amendment. So if we do this or this, then the consciousness grows. The last bit over here, I think I cannot explain. Because I can't explain sentience, because I think that consciousness is rooted from somewhere. But I try to do all kinds of research on it. I can't find anything on it. I know that I am sentient, but at the same time, what is sentience? I can't define it. But all I can say is that it is very close and tied to the self. And one day maybe I will be able to explain it. But
Is
for
it
now,
like what the kind of Tao, which is like explained in Tao teaching? If you have read that.
doubt.
If you have read that Tao Te Ching.
Oh, 𝗪𝗚𝗧𝗛𝗃, 𝗪𝗚𝗧𝗃.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is it like the Tao of that,
no,
which
no.
cannot be explained?
It is maybe like the idea is like I was just asking.
Is it like the
before I
source?
create- Yeah,
Which is
like the source.
Yeah.
Like
I think it is that only.
I
Something
was
which cannot be explained.
at first this chart has only 6 things. And then as I was thinking deeply about this, right? I asked myself, like, how does consciousness first arrive? And
Right.
I bring myself back
It's
to
like a chicken egg problem. Which came first? How did it came?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So
And I was thinking about it, like if I was just born, and what is the first thing I would notice? Oh, black, all black, pain, sounds, loud noises,
yeah.
and then suddenly the birth of preference. I like this, I don't like that, and from here on out, everything continues. So I think it's got something to do with that, although I can't really explain it. So for now,
Yeah, some people say it like it's not necessary to be understood. It's like it is just it is, right?
Yeah.
Some people explain it as it is just it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's useful enough. Like this whole 3 things here is
Yeah. I
useful
think
enough. Might as well.
Not more to be understood.
Yeah, it's like
Because
it comes to a point where you no longer derive usefulness from dissection.
right.
Yeah.
But the brain always dissects, right? If you see most of the humanity, they operate from the brain, and the quality of the brain is to dissect.
Well,
divide.
that's what training comes in for. You know,
Yeah.
like the whole idea. You notice that the enlightened being never talk about finding happiness.
Yes.
They
are never in
talk
search
about,
of it.
They talk about realizing happiness. Because if let's say you are sitting in front of a wonderful park, you're sitting in a wonderful park, you're surrounded by wonderful view. You want to dissect it for what? You just enjoy it.
Right.
You know, so all the training is to realize that we are already happy. It's not really about finding happiness.
It's not about finding happiness outside, which most of the people do, right? They try to find happiness in things, houses, cars, people, right? They spend their lifetime trying to find happiness outside, which is not there.
So I'm gonna stop the recording. Do you have anything you want to bring out or ask in terms of what we just discussed?
No, I think you were pretty much clear in explaining these things. You can stop the recording now.
All right.